Let's talk about the new unspoken tax in government contracting. Now, you're not going to see it on a official form. If you're at the Fed level, you're not going to see it in the Federal Register. But, and this is a huge but, if you're in the proposal game, if you're in the government contracting game, you're probably experiencing this AI tax without even realizing that it's an actual tax. AI, we know it, is churning out government proposals faster than ever. And frankly, the government is getting tired of that. And that's because agencies are being flooded with low quality generic bids and they're starting to push back by creating new barriers. The way they're doing that is two ways. Think access fees just to see the bid documents, or even caps on how many proposals you can submit. This is the AI tax, and it's a penalty for using AI as a thoughtless shortcut. And all of us, especially at the very beginning when AI really started coming out, are at fault. We all did this. In this new world, really what we're going to be seeing is you might actually literally be paying the government to lose their solicitation. Now, once again, let's get real for 1 second. You're not just probably using AI, you better be using AI to help with your proposal writing, your capture, everything. It's a tool. And how couldn't you? The pace is brutal, and any tool that promises to cut down on time is tempting. Remember, procurement, capture teams, those are cost centers. So if we can reduce that cost, that's a big win. For years, when it comes to government contracting, the name of the game has always been volume and speed. More bids in the pipeline, more chances to win, more submissions. But that math is really starting to fail and come apart, not just for government contractors, but also for the government itself. Now, we're not just hearing anecdotes from contracting officers and teams that we work with at Square Compass. We're actually tracking a lot of these changes, especially where they're starting at, which is at the SLED level, specifically as we go down to the municipal or smaller entity level. And the reason why is they're able to move faster and they have a more of a need to try to curtail a lot of this AI shoddy work that they're getting. And what I mean, well, there's a significant increase in the portion of proposals being non-compliant right out the gate. And I don't mean they're missing like an SF30. I actually mean that contractors are using AI and governments are tired of this sloppy cookie cutter results that aren't producing valuable information and insight for these procurement officials to be able to make a decision. Well, and so they're adapting, just like we adapted to try to make our lives and our jobs even easier. The government and the procurement, especially at the municipal level at this point in time, is also doing that as well. And we're seeing really two trends that create friction that are coming out. First, especially in the state and local market, right? And then once again, coming back to the municipal level, there are some agencies that are using not just third party platforms, but really what they're gatekeeping is the access to have the ability to actually bid. And the way they're doing that is by forcing individuals, forcing companies to pay for the specific bid documentation related to the solicitation. You might be wondering how they do that. We'll talk a little bit about that later. But for you, for everybody, the important part about this is that they're actually doing it. Second, and there's this discussion inside of the federal space about limiting the number of total submissions your company can submit on specific agencies. And this really is to manage, once again, the volume, the level that is required by procurement officials to be able to make good decisions. And if you don't really understand how some of this works, right, really what you see in procurement is that it either starts on one side or the other. A lot of these things can start with the municipal side, the smaller agencies, smaller government entities, because they're able to move faster. Makes sense. Or it starts at the federal level and starts working its way down. The states are kind of interesting on how they operate when it comes to regulatory matters, especially because when it's federal funding that goes down to the states to administer, there's different rules. But in general, that's the way it's going to work. And this is that AI tax. It's not a line item on a bid, right? It's not ever going to come into your cost budget. It's really about the access fee for an RFP that you could lose. And remember, if there's only one vendor that is being selected and 10 vendors submit, then you really have a 10% chance at the end of the day. And it could go up, right? Your P win could go up, but really Think about it that way. Now, they can't gatekeep the idea that there is a solicitation, right? We're actually kind of going back into the past, right? Where solicitations normally were posted in circulars so that companies could actually see it, get hold of it, and then reach out to the government agencies to be able to procure the actual bid documentation. And so you might be wondering, well, how does this work today? Well, back in the day and today, you weren't paying a tax, you weren't paying an access fee. But the way the government looks at this is that you are paying for the labor in order to give you the bid documentation. It's kind of like how FOIAs work in general. And it's important to know about this because there are going to be opportunity costs regardless of how fast AI works. And on top of that, if there is a cap that comes in on the number of submissions, total number of submissions annually you can submit to an agency, well, you now decrease your willingness to go after those specific bids. And even if you do on this way, it's really a financial penalty that makes you, and hopefully the government is thinking, will make you think twice before spamming an agency with low effort AI generated bids. And this is really where it gets painful. The same AI tools that are going to help you submit more are now making each submission a higher stakes gamble. Think about that for a second. Higher stakes gamble. Picture this. You pay the access fee for a new opportunity. You let your AI tool spin up a draft that looks compliant. It's got the right sections, hits the keywords, and seems professional enough. You hit submit, feeling pretty good about your efficiency. Then you lose. And you lose the next one too. You keep paying the fees, but the wins aren't coming. You might be thinking to yourself, why? Well, go back to what we talked about that we're getting from contracting officers and what we're tracking. It's because your proposal was technically compliant, but it wasn't compelling and competitive. The government evaluator on the other side is reading proposals after proposal that all sound the same. Why? Because it was generated by AI with barely any humans touching it. They're always usually going to be filled with vague, slightly off, robotic language that AI is known for. Think about this, the overuse of hyphens. Think about the idea when you read something that you know was produced by AI, especially those text messages or whatever you see a lot with people using with Claude Cowork and others. Think how much you like the fact that they basically probably didn't think about anything they just sent to you. Really, what we're looking about when it comes to how this is working is that now that there is an AI tax, standing out from the crowd, well, that becomes even more important because so many proposals are just blending into a sea of digital noise. If you're not focusing in on that, you're really just paying the government for the privilege of being rejected. You paid the AI tax and got nothing. So you might be thinking to yourself, what's the answer? Well, you cannot abandon AI. Remember, AI is a tool, just like a hammer versus a nail gun. It is just a tool. If you don't know how to use it, it doesn't matter that you actually have it. You really got to think about this as we're going back to the way it used to be. We're going back to the part where not every solicitation might actually be worth going after, even if you're thinking, I might have this. And that's because of the AI tax. It also makes it much more difficult for AI to be able to access these solicitations, to be able to help you with your go, no go decision. So the winners at the end of the day are going to be the ones who adapt to the new reality. And how are they going to adapt? Well, let's talk about the first thing. Your mindset has to shift from mere compliance to differentiation. Your proposal can't just be technically correct. It has to tell a story with a strong human-driven strategy, clear win themes, and proof points that AI has so much difficulty of inventing. You use your supercomputer in your head to work with AI. Second, working with AI means you have to use AI as a strategic partner, not a crutch, and not as the tool that is doing all the work and you just hit submit. Let AI do the grunt work. It's great at that. Use it to create a rock solid compliance matrix in minutes. Have it scan hundreds of pages to ensure you haven't missed a single requirement. Use it to research past awards and analyze agency priorities. That's so much. But the soul of your proposal, the executive summary, the first thing they're going to read, the technical approach, the management plan, that has to be guided by your human experts. Let AI generate a first draft. We all do. But then your team must take over to refine the language, inject the strategy, and provide the compelling evidence that only concerns that are important really when you're talking about experience. This human in the loop approach isn't just a good idea, it's becoming the only way to win. And the reality of the situation is AI hasn't just given us a new tool, it's changing in real time the entire procurement landscape. Government agencies are raising the barrier to entry, and the metaphorical AI tax is their way at the very beginning of filtering out the noise. If your proposal strategy is still all about volume and speed, this new environment is going to really expose that weakness for yourselves. And the contractors who thrive will not be the ones who treat AI as a powerful assistant, not as a substitute for critical thinking, but as a companion and tool that does certain things much faster and sometimes better than you and I if we didn't have this. You got to pair AI's incredible efficiency with human insight to deliver those proposals that are both perfectly compliant and deeply compelling. They won't just avoid the AI tax, by the way. They're going to turn this tax into an investment in your future and ultimately a competitive advantage. As always, thanks for watching. If you have any questions about this AI tax, feel free to put a comment or a question in the comments below. We try to answer every single question, every single thought as they come in. As always, if you want to work or get some information on how to win government contracts, feel free to use my link, set up a meeting with me, and I'm more than happy to discuss anything that you're thinking about inside of government contracting, answer some questions you have. I want you to win. I don't want to gatekeep, like the government, information that could help you be successful. As always, thanks for watching. Please subscribe. It really helps this channel. Like, share, and I'll see you next time.